Hello everyone, this is episode 2 of ranking every WCA event, and today we're ranking them based off how easy they are to solve one-handed. This is episode 2 of the series, and if you haven't watched the first one, I'm going to do a quick summary. I'm not going to do this every single video, but we have 17 events, we're going to put them into this tier list, and then based on the results in this tier list, we're going to give each event points, which will then go into a spreadsheet to determine the overall winner of the entire series. I'm also going to sort events within the same tier. So that's basically it. We'll go to the spreadsheet at the end, but now let's start by ranking these events based on how easy they are to solve one-handed. Now, the easiness to solve one-handed is a bit of a weird prompt because there's basically two ways you can interpret it. One, it's how easy, as objectively as a puzzle, how easy it is to solve one-handed. It could also be how hard or easy it is to switch from the normal version to the one-hand. For instance, a difficult puzzle like 7x7, you might say, yes, it is really hard just because it's a really difficult puzzle. When I mean difficult, I mean quite long. Or you could say that, assuming you already know how to solve 7x7, how hard it is to solve it one-hand from there. I'm sort of going to do a mix of the two. I'm going to start with some easy ones to get out of the way. I do think that the easiest puzzle to solve one-handed is 2x2. It's short, the cube's not too big, and the algorithms are not that hard to do, and you don't really need the muscle memory, especially with the beginner's method. So I think 2x2 definitely deserves an S tier. In A tier, I'm going to put two puzzles actually here at the same time, and this is 3x3. This is just a slightly longer version of 2x2. I think there's a lot of RU moves, it's not that bad to solve, but also a bit ironically 3x3 one hand, because technically these are the exact same event. I don't know which one to put higher than the other because they are basically the same event. 3x3 one hand is just 3x3 one-handed, but I might put one hand a bit higher because assuming you know how to solve a 3x3, you need to learn one hand. Assuming you know how to solve a 3x3 one-handed, you don't need to learn anything, so I'm gonna have to put one hand higher than 3x3. Alright, let's do some hard ones now. And I think big cubes are really hard to solve one-handed. I think, you know, you have so many layers with magnets, can be kind of hard to separate, and of course the puzzles are long and for beginners could be really hard unless you sort of go through each cube. So I think I'm gonna have to put 7x7 in E tier, so ridiculously hard, and 6x6, yeah, that's also going in E tier. I think I'm, again, 6x6 smaller, so I'm gonna put it higher than 7x7, but yeah. Now 5x5, I really think 5x5 is a bit more manageable than 6x6 and 7x7. It's still a pain. It gets a D, and 4x4, it's going to get a C, as obviously smaller cubes are equal. Slightly easy to solve. They're not as big, so your hand can actually fit across the whole cube. 3 blind. Now, as an event, 3 blind is quite hard. However, it is basically just one hand or 3x3. There's a few more algorithms. If you do Pockman, it's just a lot of T-perms, which is a lot of RU spam, so it's not that bad. I think I'm gonna have to go around the same as 4x4. I think it's gonna be easier than 4x4. It's just 3x3s are quite small, they're quite easy to turn one-handed. This can go in C above 4x4. Now let's do clock. I don't even know how to solve a clock one-handed. I don't know how that would happen. Like, first you have to do the pins, but then if you put the clock down on its face, then the pins will automatically go up. Wait, I have a clock right here, let's try. It's actually not that, I expected it to be much harder, but clocks are kind of small and you can sort of hold it against the table and do moves, so it's not that bad actually. I was gonna rank it like D and E, but after doing that, I really think it's like B. It's really not that bad. Now let's go on to Pyraminx. I think Pyraminx is kind of like 3x3 where you can do moves pretty easily one-handed. The puzzle's not that big. You can do RU spam. The tips might be annoying and I could see you accidentally turning tips, but I think this gets A and just below 3x3. Megaminx. It'll be bad, but I don't think it'll be that bad. I just have a feeling, I don't have my Megaminx on me right now. I just have a feeling that if you rest the Megaminx on the table and you do moves, it'll take a really long time. However, I don't think it's going to have the same problem as the big cubes where it's just really hard to turn. I'm going to put Megaminx in B, below clock. Skewb. Skewb is kind of like Pyraminx. It's a short event. I really don't think it'll be that much of a problem. I'm going to put it higher than Pyra, I think. I don't know. Actually, no, I think turning it diagonally might be a bit of a challenge, I think. I think it's a bit harder to turn than Pura, so I'm going to put it in low A tier. Square one. Square one feels like a pain. I think it's doable. It doesn't take that much mental capacity, but it's just so tedious because doing the slice moves combined with the U and D moves, your hand's going to be in a really awkward position. I think it's going to have to go in C tier. I don't think it's easier than 3 blind generally because square one is easier than 3 blind. I think that is a good placement. And 4 blind and 5 blind, there are so many slice moves in 4 blind and 5 blind that this be absolutely painful. I don't know, it's got the same problem with the big cubes where all the layers are going to stick together. It's going to be really hard to solve. I think 4 blind and 5 blind have to be at the bottom. So this is going to go at the bottom of E tier, and 5x5 is going to go even further bottom in E tier. Next we have 2 events that I've been avoiding, FMC and multi-blind. Let's start with multi-blind. I don't think multi-blind will be that bad. Like, it has the problem of the memo, but like, it's a 3x3. You can do a 3x3 quite easily one-handed compared to these big blinds. If you want just success, that's 2 3x3s. It's not that bad. It is probably going to be harder than 3 blinds. I'm going to put that at the top of D tier. I think it is slightly easier than 5x5 just because you're dealing with 3x3s, and of course it's harder than 3 blind. But then FMC. Doing FMC one-handed, I mean, it's just kind of a pain, but it doesn't actually detract from it. You just have less time. Because it's not like a time-based event, I don't think it'll be that, like in FMC you do a lot of scrambling, you do a lot of like solving and that stuff. I'm tempted to put it in S tier. Like, I could see an argument for it being like S to C. Like S, yes, because getting success is not going to be hard, but then the 1 hour time limit, you're going to be slowed down. So I think a good compromise is A or B. Let's just go like top of B. I mean, as you can say, depending on how you interpret the prompt, it could be from S to C, but I think B is a good place to put FMC. So that is the tier list of how easy these events are to solve one-handed. Obviously we got the big cubes and the big blinds at the bottom, and the easy event 2x2 at top with only 1 event in S, unlike last week, which I think had 5 or something. Alright, so now I'm going to put all these pieces of data into a spreadsheet, and we're going to see which event is winning after week 2. Alright, so I've now filled out this table so we can see that this column here is for episode 2. This is episode 1 with our most spectator friendly events, and we have 2 with the easiest one-hand solve. So as you can see, all these numbers are filled out with the table. So we have red as our S tier, our orange as our A tier, yellow as B tier, green as C tier, blue as D tier, and purple as E tier. And one thing you'll notice is all the scores of the same tier are different between our 2 events. For instance, today S tier got 16 points, whereas in episode 1 it only got 12. And this is because the point distribution is determined by the number of events in a lower tier, which means that events in the same tier will have the same amount of points, and also that the amount of points per tier changes each week. This next section here is a bit deceptive because what this is looking at is the number of times an event got each tier, and because each event has gotten each tier basically only once, they're all tied for first. We can see for D tier how this is an exception because multi-blind has had 2 D tier placements, which means it's first in the D tier, which is quite frankly not a very cool thing. You want to be first in S tier. In this section, you want a higher number to get first, and then finally we have the total number of points and our ranking, where the lowest ranking number wins based on whoever has the most points. So right now there's a tie for first between 3x3 and one hand with 24 points, and then 2x2 is in third place with 22 points. So 3x3 is in the lead right now, and we'll see who gets the crown in the next video. Anyway, that's really it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.